That's how we started. Yeah. Pufferfish. Asina Metro, thank you so much for the follow. I saw that you followed like shortly before I went live. And I was like, oh, and then I saw your sweet message and it made me so happy. And I almost started crying right here at this very desk. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, Cupcake. Damn, I just got here. Okay, let me move. There. Listen, we had this desk built. It was like a month ago, 2 days ago, babe. Can you fucking believe that shit? And my sleep schedule has never recovered. But we are still moving shit around and figuring shit out. Like, we moved the microphone. It was right here betwixt the two monitors, and it was too wobbly and wiggly, so we put it right here. So now I can fucking pull it close to me when I need to get real close and intimate with you all for just a minute or two, you know? And this is a crucial part of my streams, and if I can't do this, I feel like I'm missing something, you know? That little je ne sais quoi. But at any rate, lurkers, listeners, now and later, I hope you're having a beautiful time zone wherever thou may art. I art full of tofu pad thai, bitch. I got it from the same place, okay? And I've had an exorbitant amount of chicken lately, so I got their tofu. And I fucking love tofu. Plus, it doesn't cost extra. So, everybody fucking wins. Did I do the hydrate thing just now again? I don't remember. Does it matter?
You did.
We're here. Listen. Yeah, things have transpired in my personal life that I haven't like shared with y'all yet that are sort of pertinent to the way that my fucking brain works. So I'll just fucking catch y'all up real quick. Of course, if you follow me on Twitter and TikTok, well, no, I haven't made a TikTok about it yet. If you follow me on Twitter, you will already know this, but you know, I'm making you sit through it anyway. Okay, we're here. And it's story time again. And if you know it, just like be at peace with that. So I had a case manager for, well, I've had two different ones over the past 2 years because when I got diagnosed with ADHD in 2021, am poor, am on government insurance. So I went within my network to try to see doctors for free and get my medicine for free if at all fucking possible. But in my area, the only way for me to do that with this network is if I have a case manager because, you know, I'm a parolee in kindergarten. So I had a case manager for like a year. Her name was redacted and she was a little older and I could just tell we were not on the same page, like not on the same wavelength. And y'all know how I feel about phone calls. And admittedly, I didn't answer the phone when she called because she called me at random times. And we now know that that's not a good idea. Otherwise, the phone call won't take place. So I think she literally like gave me away. She like put me back in the case manager pool when our year was up. And she was like, this bitch don't answer her damn phone. I want somebody that answers the phone when I call them. So I got a new case manager. We'll call her Karen. Because that's her name. And for a year, listen, I didn't mean for this tweet about this to take off, but over 100,000 fucking people have seen it at this point, which is like, you never fucking know what the algorithm is going to wash up in its wake and just take with it. But it is what it is. Not on some docs shit. It's a common name. Well, she was okay for a while, but you know, she in 2 or 3 years has caught COVID 3 different times, and I only know this because she told me willingly. Like I didn't ask her about it or anything. And after like 5 or 6 days after her third time, she was back at work unmasked, and every 90 days I had to do a fucking mandatory meeting with my parole officer, I mean case manager, so I could sign a piece of paper. No, emails don't count. And don't even bring up the Z word, Zoom, because that's not viable either. Reasons unknown to this day. Well, singing socks. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, And Acina Metra, I forgot to sing you a song as well. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Yeah. Hi, Crystal. Oh my gosh. You were just in time. Welcome in, lovely friend. I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. I was really excited to stream today, like for all day. It wasn't a gather up spoons thing, so I'm like exerting all of my chaotic energy right now. Thank you, Crystal. I told PJ, it's been years. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Socks. I'm so glad you're here. It's been years. I used to wear chokers all the fucking time, right? And I'm trying to get a little cute tonight. I'm trying to have a little fun with my jewelry, okay? I've got a cat being abducted by a UFO on both of my ears. And I've got cute little scrunchies in my hairs. And I got a little choker on, okay? You know, it's not that big of a deal. And I changed my nose ring. But I was like, you know how they put rubber bands around bull balls to make them kick and it's really inhumane? That's how this is making me feel right now. I said, this necklace is not making me feel like a good person. But then I sat there for a second and I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's what tonight's stream needs. So, at any rate, I went to this mandatory in-person meeting with her, knowing that she was just back from catching SARS-CoV-2, didn't wear a mask. I offered her mine. She didn't take it. She instead opted to have the door open. She kept me there for 15 fucking minutes telling me in grueling detail about her 3 infections, about skipping church, and about people that she goes to church with. I asked for none of these things. She proceeds to sneeze in her tiny windowless office, and my brain is on fire at that point because I want to get the fuck out of there. And after that meeting, I mean, she knows I'm immunocompromised. She knows I'm high risk. She knows I've worn a mask in her presence every single fucking time I've talked to her. Like, this is not news to her in any way. I bring it up in some capacity every time we talk. But then after the meeting, she was like, you know what, next time, maybe we should just do our business in the parking lot. Like a fucking drug deal in high school? Like behind the football field? Signing confidential documents that I have to be here for?
Like we're exchanging children?
Such neurotypical. Much what the fuck. Like, these are just so... Nothing tease me more than arbitrary rules that don't need to be a reason. That don't need to be a rule. But they're just a rule because they're a rule. That has been an itch in my autistic craw for 31, almost 32 years now. But anyway... That fucking fucked me up and made me really mad, and it made me feel like she didn't give a fuck about me because clearly she didn't demonstrate that she did. So I took the 2 weeks between that and her next scheduled phone call with me to decide, do I even want to do this anymore? Because from start to finish, retrieving my ADHD medication and bouncing from case manager to case manager and psychiatrist to psychiatrist has worn me the fuck down to my nucleus and then some. My psychiatrist that diagnosed me with ADHD denied me and refused to assess or refer me for an autism assessment, not once but twice. The second time he did it, I tweeted about it. It went viral last year, and I was interviewed in Glamour UK about it. And it changed the the removal of a trajectory. It changed the trajectory of my fucking life, and it sort of launched me into this advocate role, and here, you know, a year and some change later, here we are. But I'm not giving him any credit for that because he gets none. But anyway, that compounded with everything else I've been through with Karen, I was like, man, this is not worth it. My insurance doesn't even take my medicine anymore. They charge me a different total every time I show up. They sometimes give me a 15 or a 14-day dose. Sometimes they give me 30. It's a fucking guessing game with these people. So I noticed a difference when I first started taking it, like 2 years ago, but now I just take it to keep from having withdrawal symptoms. It doesn't really do much by way of, you know, bestowing executive function upon me or allowing me to complete a task in a linear fashion. No, it just doesn't. So ever since that happened, well, I started 2 weeks after that happened. This is the 5th week now. I have been in the process of weaning myself off of my ADHD medication. And I don't do this shit willy-nilly. I don't do it lightly. I went cold turkey on Zoloft 4 years ago and tried to yeet myself into the great beyond, okay? I do not take this lightly at all. I have done ample research. I've spoken to ample professionals about this online over the course of these last few weeks and doing my due diligence to make sure that I don't fuck myself. So I'm about 5 weeks into that, and I still have at least 6 more to go. I'm taking it extremely seriously because it's 2 different medications that I no longer have access to. But I skirted Karen's phone calls for a few weeks, and she started to leave me voicemails saying that she's like concerned about me, as if emails don't exist, as if we haven't emailed each other, as if she doesn't know I'm busy, as if she doesn't know that she fucked up, you know? So last Friday, was it last Friday? It was either last Friday or the Friday before. I was awakened by on my door. And I looked at my phone and I had a missed call and a voicemail from her. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even listen to it. I didn't even read the transcription. I fucking deleted it. And dollars to donuts, I bet it was her. I didn't see her with my eyes, but the pattern of which the escalating concern came from her messages to me made me think it was her, because before she has offered to come to my house and bring her maskless face into my fucking yard and breathe in my face. No, bitch. No! No. You clearly don't give a fuck about my health, so I have to. And that's been the life of us immunocompromised people for almost 4 years now. I'm used to it. It doesn't shock me. It doesn't surprise me. It pisses me off. It wears me the fuck down. But it is what it is. I have to take my health seriously. So no, do not bring your fucking coffin ass over to my house. Okay? Well, I laid there stewing for a few minutes and wiping the crusties out of my eyes. And I sent her a fucking email. And y'all, I think I should read it for y'all.
Yes.
When I tell you, it felt so good. So good. Like when you've been swimming at the pool all day and you get out and you're fucking freezing and then you step into a hot shower. Just so fucking good. And I've already given way too much backstory to not read this to you, because this went viral on fucking Twitter. So you're hearing it, damn it. Let's see. Yeah, this necklace is making me like spicy and stale.
Stale?
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm scrolling. Okay. Alright. Let me go ahead and I gotta get my screens situated here. Give me a sec. Hi, I'm over here now. Alright. So this is just pulled straight from my Twitter because I don't have the spoons to re-redact the information in a fresh screenshot. So I typed this. My face was on the pillow. I had one eye closed and I was typing it like this. So that's very much the vibe that we're going for here, okay? She already knows how spicy I am. She already knows that I've had to be a fucking fierce cunty activist in my own doctor appointments to be taken seriously at all. So what the fuck do you expect? You know what I mean? But here it goes. I title it Termination of Services. Stop clicking on shit. We're using a new mouse and it makes me mad. Okay. Hi, Karen. I'm writing this to inform you that I am terminating my services. I understand what this entails. I understand that my access to my ADHD medications will cease. I've consulted with a healthcare professional about the safest way to wean myself off my meds and have been following their guidance. My reasons for doing this are multiple. The straw that broke the camel's back was my last in-person meeting with you. You, having caught SARS-CoV-2 for the 3rd time, returned to work unmasked. I, an immunocompromised person, offered you a spare KN95 mask to wear during our mandatory meeting. You wouldn't take it and instead opted to keep your office door open. You said you wouldn't keep me there long, but proceeded to speak in grueling detail about each of your 3 infections, as well as extraneous details about your life that I didn't ask about. Your dog? Why do I know both of your dogs' names? 1-800, I didn't fucking ask. You wouldn't take... Okay. Okay. I'm the world's worst at picking up where I left off when I read shit. Y'all already know that.
That's why you got the finger.
As well as extraneous details that I didn't ask about. Then you sneezed in your tiny windowless office. Your emphatic apology after you sneezed. She literally was like, I am so sorry. Like, she wasn't like, oh, I'm sorry. She was like, She seemed low-key horrified.
Yep.
Good.
Good.
Your emphatic apology after you sneezed told me that you knew it wasn't a good thing, especially after declining to wear a mask during our short meeting. It was only at the end of this meeting that you retroactively decided to meet me halfway by way of conducting any future meetings in the parking lot. Jesse Pinkman style. I was so rattled and stressed during our meeting that I didn't even get to bring up an important point that I, at the time, needed help with. My insurance no longer accepts my medicine. Well, no longer, like, pays for my medicine. Right, y'all? Sylvia, socks, like, it is so fucking easy. Boop, 10 minutes. 10 minutes of your precious time. The mask would have caught the sneeze and I would have felt a hell of a lot better about it. Uh-oh, my pillows are falling. I know, right? Like, ma'am. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It fell again. I got it. Seabear X lightly light. Wow, did I read that correctly? Seabear X lightly light. Yes! Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Yeah. Sorry, my alien pillow is puking and I have to reinstall its guts. I've sewn this 4 times. That's how well my life is going. Unwired from reality. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Yeah. I gotta get creative with these damn songs. Okay. I got a sippy. Okay. I was so... Okay. Yeah, my insurance no longer covers my medicine. It's a different total every time I pick it up. None of that matters now, though, as I am 4 weeks into weaning off of them. It'd be a lot easier if anyone in your facility would just wear a mask, but none of you want to be inconvenienced with the simplest of mitigation measures for the sake of public health. In case you're new here, hi, I'm immunocompromised, and I talk about my frustrations with having to pay attention to a pandemic that everyone else ignores, and then they catch not COVID and are sick for 8 months and get winded rolling over in bed and then continue catching it over and over again. Y'all are playing fast and loose with the virus. It hasn't even been released, launched, dropped, on sale, available for 5 fucking years. There are long-term ramifications to this that we're not going to see until at least a decade from now, like for real, people talking about it. Long COVID is just now being seen more and more in mainstream media as not a fucking myth. So that's the vibe I'm on here. And I never apologize for it because people don't want me to talk about it. Agent Whiskey Danger! Coming in with a triple sub. You've got to be kidding me, bitch.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I'd like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
Thank you, friend. Please don't be sorry. You're never late. You're right on time. Anytime you show up is right on time. I'm so glad. Okay. Well, Pickle's offended. And he's also pickled. Okay, yeah. What was I doing? I was reading. This whole weaning process. Woof. Y'all are watching society crumble in real time on live right now. Okay, the fact that my meetings couldn't be conducted via Zoom is extremely ableist and inaccessible. I'm not on parole, Karen. I'm immunocompromised and don't want to risk my health by jumping through senseless hoops. After the rigmarole I've been through with, acronym of healthcare network, these past couple of years, I am beyond done. Having access to my meds isn't worth the turmoil, trauma, and negligence I've been faced with at the hands of multiple people. I can't express how important my health is to me. Since no one around me can be bothered to give a shit, I have to. I do not have a choice. I've been reminded time and time again that my health is not a priority at acronym of Health Network. I do not wish to continue any services. I will not be attending next week's appointment with former psychiatrist, now former. Also, I'm not sure if it was you who pounded on my door this morning and woke me up. If it wasn't, then kindly disregard the rest of this paragraph. If it was, what the fuck? I really wanted to put all caps, but I figured dropping an F-bomb just shook her to her Pentecostal core. Again, I am not on parole. Emails exist. You know, phone calls are difficult for me. I have discussed this with her at length to the point where we had to schedule our phone calls because getting called at random gives me fucking hives. You know I'm immunocompromised. Neither of those things matter to you. Whoa. This is zoomed in because it's smaller. I wanted to tell you all of this over the phone, but I wouldn't have been able to. I'm much more gathered and articulated via writing. This email serves as my complete termination of services. I will not be back to sign anything. I will never darken that doorway again. That building has traumatized me enough for a lifetime. Send. And it felt fucking good to send that. After that, I fucking laid there in bed and watched TikToks on mute because Pidge was sleeping next to me and I'm a good partner. And then I got up and went about my fucking day and I felt so much lighter and so much freer. Like, holy fucking shit. K Nova, hi! I'm so glad you're here, sweet friend. Oh my gosh. They were playing, what's the new Mario game? Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Vexiferous! Thank you for the subby wobby. Thank you for the subby wobby wobby. There's Buttspot. I was wondering when your ass would show up.
What the fuck?
Holy shit. We are close to a hype train. Another one. So if y'all are feeling moved by the streaming spirit, now's your time to do a sub or gift a sub or use bits. And, yeah, we'll have another fucking hype train. We had a level 6 hype train the other night. My very first one. Oh my gosh! Yes, baby! Oh my gosh! It's another hype train!
And when you don't jiggle, jiggle, it folds. I'd like to see you wiggle, wiggle, for sure.
Oh my god. There you go, yes! Holy shit! Oh my god! It's happening again. It's happening again.
What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
I'll tell you, Alyssa, we're having another fucking hype train in here, okay? This is very much the vibe that we're going with these days, Alyssa Edwards, okay? Vam Poppy, Vam Poppy, Vam Poppy. Y'all light me the fuck up, and I'm physically hot. Holy shit. Okay, wow. Another hype train. 2 in a month. Oh, yes. Thank you. Do it, gun. Okay. I'm sorry. I will. Don't hurt me. Okay. So, that's why I'm in fucking turbo ping pong mode, okay? Thank you for the 200 bits, K Nova. 200, not 100, not 150, not 175, but 2 motherfucking 100. Thank you so much. But damn, indeed. Also, I'm glad my glasses are low glare because I've got the ring light on tonight. Okay. Yeah, I gotta see this whiskey. Nothing more fun than being in a psych ward and having your nurse tell you should reconsider Klonopin. And when you're like, no, I'm trying to get off of benzos, and she prays over you.
Bruh.
What? Are you... Listen. Sighs exasperatedly in southern Appalachia. I've been prayed over too. And it's fucking humiliating and embarrassing and infuriating and like TBH violating. I've been in many a patient waiting room with Bible verses on the walls and pictures of white Jesus. You know, the not real one. And I've been told that the pain that I'm in is God's will by medical healthcare professionals that got their degrees from Christian colleges. Thank you for the bits, my baby. Of course they always give Bibles. Like, I'm sorry. Those end up in gas station trash cans. I would rather have contraceptives or fucking Purell or fucking adequate healthcare. If I want a Bible, I'll step outside and throw a fucking pebble in any direction and hit a church in my area. Please. Yes, keep your Sky Daddy private. Free N95s would be nice. Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. Fucking hell. Oh, man. I put up with so much bullshit from medical professionals when I was like in the throes of my people pleaser phase, like just things that now absolutely would not fly with me. If somebody starts fucking praying over me, I'm walking out. I'm walking out of the fucking room because I didn't ask. If you ask, that still makes me uncomfortable that you even want to cross that barrier with me and assume that we're the same religion or anything like that. But I don't get as offended, not offended, just fucking upset and like leave me the fuck alone about it if you ask first, because then I'll say no. I keep dropping these fucking pillows. This one, how apt. But yeah, dude, listen. I sometimes physically can't bring myself to open my phone in bed in the morning. But then the other extreme of that is I let these motherfuckers have it while I'm laying in bed on my phone. And there's rarely a happy medium in between. This morning was one of the more extreme ones that I've had in a little while. So there was this fucking video, this TikTok of this young woman. She looked to be in her maybe early to mid 20s. She was distraught, upset. Oh my gosh, yay! We got a new hype train emote! Yes! Oh my gosh! I love it! It makes me fucking mad. I love it. Okay. So this woman was talking about how, you know, she had started working at this job. It was her first job out of college, and the commute was just insane, and she wants to be able to have like her time. Like, she wants to have the option to work from home, which, first of all, removing that option is just ableist as fuck. Like, we get it. The overhead in your fancy 58 fucking story office building ain't gonna pay itself, but maybe you should have thought of that before you made a bum-ass investment, bitch. Because if my shift starts at 10, I'm finishing my cereal and hitting my bowl at 9:58 in the comfort of my own home. And I'm getting my work done during that time. And then when the shift is over at 5 p.m., I log off and then I'm in my house. You don't have to waste time commuting. And that's basically what this woman was talking about. She was coming to the realization that life in America specifically, I'm not saying exclusively, but she was American, I'm American, and I'm speaking from that experience and that perspective. You're born to grow up to be another cog. Like, fucking going to school 35 to 40 hours a week, doing all this free labor, taking your work home with you, homework, you know, falling in line, standardized testing, super cookie cutter, doesn't foster original thought, doesn't foster critical thinking. I dive in deep with this. I'm on a podcast with TJ Make a Pogue. The link is in my link tree. It's like at the top. I will fucking link that. Because she's an amazing intersectional advocate and activist. We are both staunch anti-capitalists, and we just... She's a soul after my own heart, and like we talk about this in pretty deep detail. But here's my link tree. Y'all can check out what's in there. I've got links to my merch shop. Like literally all my resources are in this. So I'll pin it, I'll pin it for us. But yeah, check that out. It's got everything. It's like my little baby website. Anyway, this woman came to this realization that life in America, we're supposed to want this. We're supposed to want to work 40 hours a week, 51 and a half weeks a year, and actually let that be enough. I understand that that is perfectly sufficient and perfectly fine and a perfectly good goal for some people to have, but to expect every single person to want that and to strive for that and to complete that is absolutely ludicrous. And this fucking account with fucking champagne drinking, Democrat voting in her bio, quote tweeted it, ripping this woman to shreds for pick-me points, I guess, for bootstrap points, I guess, and was essentially like, oh, wow, look at this little baby at her first job. I went to work 84,000 hours a week, uphill both ways in the snow, on foot with no shoes for fucking 12 years, and look at me now. I'm doing fine. You're a fucking baby. Suck it up. Just like some real fucking red hat shit. And, that shit don't fly with me, dude. That shit don't fly with me. So, I basically responded, and then chaos ensued. I was like, you know, the system doesn't work for you either, sweaty. Okay? Like, you do not have a shred of empathy for the person next to you. For someone who's young and who's scared and who's unsure and who is expressing themselves openly online. Something that your bitch ass is afraid to do, so you hide behind a keyboard. Yeah. And you think that you're winning points somewhere. So, yeah. Like, I talked about how I played the game and jumped through the hoops for 28 years. I graduated college in 4 years. I went to grad school. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I ground myself into bone powder until I could not do it anymore. Turns out I was disabled the whole fucking time. Trying to navigate a world not knowing that I was disabled. In a world that was not built for me and my disability. And all of these abled expectations lying on me. And all of these things that I couldn't do, all of these expectations that I couldn't meet, all of these demands that I couldn't live up to, and I fucking hated myself. It was a miserable existence. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. I burnt the fuck out, and I had to remove myself because I've been trying for over half of my life at that point. My last public job, I quit when I was 28. And I had been working since I was 14. So when you got the capitalist brosive bitches in my comments trying to catch me in a gotcha, they don't know what the fuck I've been through that led me to this point. Nothing has radicalized me more than learning about my disability and realizing that I was operating from like abbreviated knowledge. And admittedly, because it didn't affect me, or so I thought, I didn't take it upon myself to learn more until it affected me. And that's not okay. That's not okay. I don't want to seem like I didn't give a fuck about disabled people or I wasn't respectful to other disabled people. It was nothing like that. It was just, I just didn't fucking realize all the invisible hurdles and all of the discouragement from existing and all the ways that that we are systemically pushed out and excluded. And we're not even an afterthought to so many people. That radicalized the fuck out of me. So that is where I'm operating from. That's where my viewpoints come from. They don't come from me being self-aggrandizing, dying on a hill because it's the highest one in the meadow. Bitch, I'm speaking from 3 decades of lived experience, which is real and valid. If someone's lived experience makes you uncomfortable to hear about, imagine how fucking hard it is to live that shit. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about gestures vaguely to world right now. And it sucks that things have to happen to us before we give a shit sometimes. I fully acknowledge that learning about my disability was because I was disabled, not because I didn't take it upon myself to know about beforehand. But at any rate, people think that because I have a nose ring and that I say the F word, that I must be a liberal, that I must be a Democrat. And yeah, 10 years ago I was. 5 years ago I was. Those days are over. Those days are over. I try to look back on my life being raised around a bunch of bigoted, racist fucking people. Hyper-patriarchal, hyper-conservative, hyper-religious. And even then, I don't think that my politics or my values strayed right of center in any way. Because I've racked my brain about it a bunch. But because, you know, the right is dangling over the cliff into a pit of fascism that has pulled the left just right of center. And this isn't me pulling shit out of my ass. It's called the Overton window. Look it up. That's all the free labor you're getting from me. But, after being chewed up and spit out by end-stage capitalism for my entire existence, I do not align with people who support capitalism. And by support, I mean advocate for it and want to perpetuate it. The people that celebrate it. The people that think they're doing a good thing by keeping it going. None of it's sustainable. Well, let's start there. It's based in infinite exponential growth on a planet with finite resources. Doomed to fucking fail from the jump, right? But that, me feeling that way never fails to blow at least one Democrat's mind every time I fucking talk about it online somewhere. And then they fucking button up their little petticoat and waltz in my direction and say, "Well, what would you suggest?" Motherfucker! Sift through my shit, dude. I talk about this in various capacities and various depths and for various lengths of times on every social media platform that I am on. I'm still getting the fucking crusties out of my fucking eyes. Give me a minute. Also, the angle at which you enter someone's replies, unannounced and unsolicited, matters, bitch. It matters. Because if you come at me entirely sideways, I am every time going to proceed to return that energy straight to you at the same angle. And I'm not a fucking prophet or a psychic, but I already know. You're not gonna like it. You're not.
You're not a prophet or a psychic, you're a Cassandra.
I'm not even a Cassandra. I'm just a slut for patterns. They fucking stick out to me like sore thumbs, and I can't ignore that shit. Never could. But anyway, this necklace is like making me like fucking, if I was standing up, I'd be digging my hoof into the dirt right now, like snorting like a fucking bull. Anyway. I've spoken in the last several days about how voting for the lesser of two evils for the last, I don't know, ever has gotten us here to this very, very point. And we don't have to fucking do that anymore. And there are a lot of Gen Zers specifically because, you know, they are literally the future. And so are millennials, and so are Gen Xers, and, you know, boomers are starting to leave the chat, but that's just because the human lifespan, right? But, like, they're the ones running shit. Using old wealth passed down from generation to generation. You trace it back, it's almost always going to lead. No, almost. Fuck almost. It's going to lead to exploitation, to wage theft, to slavery. It's going to lead to some fucked up shit. But people don't want to talk about that. And that's where I come in.
Hello.
Hi, it's me, bitch. We're here. Hi, I'm the problem. Yep, first time in decades, global life expectancy is on a downward trend. That's what happens when you let a biosafety level 3 airborne pathogen run rampant, unabashed, and unmitigated amongst a global population for 4 full calendar years. And now we've got people scratching our ass like, why can't I fucking do XYZ 1, 2, 3 anymore? I've had COVID 4 times, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, cool. So one other time in history, in modern history, after the advent of modern fucking medicine, were 30 and 40-year-olds dropping dead of heart attacks quickly. This is how microphones work. I'm holding it to my ear, patiently awaiting your answer. Like, people don't like to hear the answer because it reminds them of shit that they are ignoring. But people like me haven't had the luxury of ignoring it. So they take that discomfort out on people like me. And then I have to fucking crack my knuckles and wipe out my eye crusties and drag them to hell before I even get out of bed in the morning. This is just my life now on social media. This is the life that I have chose. Okay? Yeah. I mean, by way of putting down other people's expectations of me, and burps and belches, and living authentically and comfortably as myself, it has led me to this very fucking path. Like, of course, I'm making up for lost time because I'm 30 years late to the party. And it feels too fucking good. I will never put myself dead spanking last in life ever fucking again. Because there's 8 billion of us now. Someone's got to have our own backs. It might as well be us. But not on some hyper-individualism shit. I think having your own back first allows you to hold space for other people. But some people just turn all of that inward and just hyper-focus on the stuff within arm's reach. And the hyper-individualistic care that they have about their little bubble never extends outside of it to the person next to them that they don't know. And I'm so sick of empathy being seen as a weakness. I'm so sick of sensitivity being seen as a weakness. I'm sick of people who give a fuck getting made fun of and teased and mocked for giving a shit. Terms like fucking sissy and crybaby and tree hugger and worrywart. Like, do y'all hear your fucking selves? These are people who are tapped into their full spectrum of human emotion and allowing themselves to feel these things because they understand that it's not weakness. One might argue that it is a form of weakness to actively ignore it because you're not growing through it. You're shoving it in the closet until the door won't close anymore. And then it all bursts open, it all comes crashing down, and you keel over of a heart attack at 40 something. You know, like, people hold this shit in for their whole life. And that shit will eat you alive on the inside out. It has physical ramifications to deny yourself the spectrum of human feelings and human emotions. Like, we're born with tear ducts for a reason. Crying is not a weakness. It's your nervous system regulating itself. And you have to allow it to occur, because if you're not, you're just prolonging the inevitable. Hi, guitar guy. Welcome in. Respectfully. Me too, K-Nova. Sometimes I cry multiple times a day. Sometimes it is required. Sometimes I cry for no fucking reason at all, because my brain is always somewhere else. And sometimes my nervous system knows what I need before I do. So if I just start welling up and crying out of nowhere, I'm like, well, I guess I need this. Oh, man. So, yeah. If you don't know me or don't know what I'm about, don't know how I feel about things, and you see one tweet from me and you assume that's the extent of my knowledge, the extent of my opinion, or the extent of my understanding, forgetting conveniently that Twitter has a fucking character limit. And you start a bad faith argument that way. You don't get to be surprised when I return to sender, bitch. You don't. I say it all the time, and it still stands right now on the day of our Lord, October 25th, 2023. My page is not a democracy. Your voice is not a requirement for me to be heard, for me to hear it. Like, I literally had a mutual today message me out of the blue and just said, it literally just said, hey, how do you do this? Like, how do you put up with this shit? Because they must have seen me fucking fighting for my life all day on Twitter. But I basically told them that with bad faith actors specifically, I allow myself to be as petty as I wish, because it's delicious and nutritious and cathartic. But in order for me to be comfortable enough with letting that side of me out, I truly had to, over the course of fucking months and years, and I'm still working on it, put down the need to be liked. Because I'm telling you right now, being liked used to rule everything that I fucking did. Everything I said, everything I did, everything I wore, everything I believed, everything I listened to. Like, it ruled my path for so long. But even though that's true, I still stuck out because people can sniff out autistic people can sniff out autistic people even if they don't have language for it, you know? But like, I don't do that anymore. My need to be my truest, most comfortable, most authentic self will forever take precedent over being liked. Because I'm not interested in having people surrounded by me who don't really know the real me. Because I'm not pretending anymore. Because I don't give a fuck about what people think about me anymore. In that regard. Like, being so focused on, well, I have to make sure that everyone understands what I'm saying here. I have to make sure that I clarify and explain everything that I say because I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. I don't want to make anyone mad. I used to do that with everything. With certain extremely sensitive topics, I understand that that kind of care is needed. And I'm not saying that this applies to everything, but like for me, that used to be number one with a bullet on my list before I said anything or did anything. But over the years, it started becoming harder and harder for me to do that. And it got to a point eventually where I was like, I'm too old for this fucking shit. I'm too old for this shit. So now, I mean, a lot of that also ties into my learning that I'm autistic and learning how to unmask my autistic traits. Traits that I used to get my ass beat for, which we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. The title is not clickbait.
We got the book.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But healing from all of that and allowing and being in a space and having a relationship, a healthy, fantastic. You're like directly behind me now, so this isn't going to work anymore. A fantastic, healthy relationship where I'm not controlled. I'm allowed and encouraged to be myself because I am loved as my truest self. Like, I'm loved no matter what, but like the space is always there for me to exist as myself. And I have never had that in my life before I met Pidge. Ever. Ever. Not in romantic partners, not in my family, not really with my friends. The closest I've ever been to it was in college when I studied music, and the music department was in its own little bubble pod in its own little building at my state university. And we were all mostly undiscovered neurodivergent fucking weirdos who vocally stemmed and always had songs in our head. And we just, it was whimsical and freeing to exist and just be enveloped in music for 4 years. And I miss it a lot. But as an adult out of school, you know, Pidge, my relationship with PJ is the first time as an adult I've been able to exist as myself. And it's fucking great. You look fucking great. It's great. And any fucking bullshit that comes along with it by way of sideways angled bad faith actors pales in comparison to the amount of actual love and actual connection and actual camaraderie and community that I've been able to find by being myself. Because there are people out there just fucking like me. We all share the same brain cell and we pass it around. I clearly don't have mine with me tonight. I don't remember. I think it's Pickles night with the brain cell. But oh, I have not been looking at the chat very much. Oh, Lord. Listen, we love a sparkling heart, okay? We love it. Great. Pickle lost the brain cell again. What the hell? Okay. Listen, y'all thought my fucking brain was made of Swiss cheese before? That was when I was medicated. But anyway, I feel like this is a natural segue into cracking open this book. So I am going to go ahead and take a quick BRB because my underboobs are sweaty and I need to stand up and my leg hurts. And my butt cheek is numb. And that's your potatum bodily function update. BRB. Oh. Welcome. Okay. I saw a question, Nova. Okay, these pixels over here. Wow, I did that fast. I usually have to go, oh. I didn't draw them or like illustrate them, but each pixel character figure that you see in like the BRB screen that's starting soon, and the thanks for watching, I placed individually. Like, I use Canva, and I use Canva Pro, and they have like fucking so many fucking images, and they're customizable with colors, so I like I didn't illustrate them, but I tweaked them and built my little pixel city piece by fucking piece until my eyeballs refused to focus anymore. Thank you! Oh my God. Listen, I spent so much fucking time on them that I feel like I fucking would have, it would have behooved my sanity to commission it, but it would not have behooved my wallet. So, autodidactic, stubborn ass bitch that I am, I just teach myself how to do things, and then I take 4 times as long as it would take a professional, and then I crank out something that's usually mediocre or slightly better in some cases. I'm extremely proud of that screen, and it just makes me so happy that you saw it and that you appreciate it too. Thank you. I do have emotes from Etsy. My tater emotes that I loaded in when I first started this fucking channel, and they never popped up, and now I don't know where they are.
They're just going time by time.
Yeah, I don't know, but oh my gosh, this is a new one I'm going to use now from now on. This is one of Nova's. I love it.
Right.
I thought it was a rainbow ditto. I'll have to wipe them and re-upload them because I have like fucking 25 and I paid US dollars for them. And I want them to be used. Thank you, Pickle, for plugging the merch. Yeah, potatum.com with the number 8. I forgot that I actually have a couple of new pieces that I did want to show y'all. So thanks for reminding me, Pickly boy. Okay. Before we get into the book, listen. This is just the ping pong schlong that we're on tonight, okay? Please, take your time. You're doing great. All right. Whoa, that's cool. Above my little Twitch symbol, it says that I'm live right now. Am I live? That's super neat. Okay. I've already watched the VOD on YouTube for the full merch showcase because I did that last time. But I love all this shit. But I have 1 or 2 new pieces in here that I need to show y'all. This is new but old. Like, this was in my old shop, but this was like these pieces were my best sellers in my Teespring shop. The Cassandra We're All Gonna Die shit, like, except now I made hats and they have a cool fucking red eyeball on the side. And we've got t-shirts and hoodies and more hats with more eyeballs. Like, oh my God, this stuff makes me so mad. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, Nova, I would love to help you figure this out and talk to you. And I will even, if you know, if it's a spoon thing or if it's a preference thing, whatever, like, I will help you design stuff, like, whatever you fucking need. Like, I love this shit. Like, it's my new fucking, like, hyper interest. I work on it, like, every day. Also, I found out that they have corduroy hats in the shop. So now we have corduroy hats in my shop. And tie-dye beanies and shit. But this is not the only one. I did start a collection, but then I had to stop to eat dinner. But, okay, yeah, no, I forgot. I have this one too. This collection's complete. It's called Mind Melt. And all merch is designed by me. The ones that say by Potatum in the title are paintings by me. But I love when the picture loads super fast. But it says Mind Melted, Yee-haw. And I love these fucking colors so much. Okay. And we got hats, of course, t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, stickers, magnets. Did I say hats? Do you like bucket hats? We've got them. Okay. But then I started another one. This was PJ's idea. Like, I spitball, like, ideas off of him all the time, and I was like, what if I made merch that said, kiss my asthma? And he said, that's funny, but what about pain in the asthma? And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect! So, I fucking found a cute little inhaler on Canva that was like teal and green, but I changed its colors to match my little inhaler, red and orange. And I'm like, I want to make the hardest fucking asthma shirt ever fucking made. So there's what that is. And this is my little Animal Crossing. Hold on. My little Animal Crossing holder. I fucking love it. Okie dokie. So yeah, I just have the sweatshirt right now because I haven't had time to make anything else. But yeah, this is for my fellow inhaler users. Goes fucking hard. Okay. So yeah, just wanted to show you that. Thank you, Pickle, for the reminder. But now, if your lawyers have been waiting outside, go ahead and bring them in. Make sure you've got your tissues on deck and your fucking cigarettes and weed if you need to debrief and unwind. It's been a while since we've read out of this book. For many reasons. One, because it's a fucking lot. Two, because things happen betwixt readings and whatnot, you know, life such as. And thirdly, because I've been dealing with my own struggles, problems, journeys with my own parents. Of course, that's why I have this fucking book. Like, yeah, let me plug the merch. I'll pin it too. I'm gonna do about 2 links in this. I've got all kinds of resources. This is just like the main hub, like my link tree and shit. Okay, but potatum.com will take you straight to the merch. Okay, there we go. Thank you for your help, Pickle. Okay. But anyway. So I found out that I was autistic when I turned 29. I've been processing that for 2 years. And then I found out that my mother is also autistic by way of just knowing her my whole life and her resonating with every single of my fucking innermost experiences that are due to my autism. And so when I found out that she was also autistic, I had to reprocess my life again. And that illuminated and helped me make sense of a lot of things that were still unanswered and I still felt pain about and was still up in the air about, you know? And in the summer, this past summer, I told her and I sent her some resources and she has been nothing but receptive and validating, and it's because she understands firsthand. Like, I'm showing her the language that was shown to me that describes my innermost experiences that I had never shared with anyone because I didn't know. I either thought everybody did them and I was just really bad at being a human, or that it was just a me thing, a personality flaw or whatever, you know? But, you know, this summer I went through a lot of health stuff. I developed like chronic fucking asthma because of the wildfires, just kicked my ass, and it like took me the fuck out for a while there. And I spent a lot of days just like talking to her and having her help me through just like the anxiety and stuff, because Pidge and I are on different sleep schedules, and like he takes care of me so much like every day, and I'm still trying to get out of the I'm sorry but I'm asking you for help inclination that I feel to apologize whenever I need help with something, or, you know, I don't want him to suffer because I'm suffering, but like he's there for me all the time, but he needs to sleep too. So like I just found myself wanting to talk to her during those moments, and it was just so easy because we were just talking about being autistic and what that means, and just kind of like commiserating, you know? Oh my God. But then the communication kind of sort of slid back into the old Groundhog Day group chat. The everyday, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Good. And the conversation never really moving anywhere past that. But yesterday I called her and we talked for the better part of 2 hours. And it was extremely emotional, and extremely hard. Like, things that I had been grappling with in my head for years, and just going through all the different scenarios and all the different ways that this conversation could possibly unfold. Like, grappling with, how am I going to tell her this? How am I going to bring this to her attention? How am I going to do this? But like, yesterday, I laid it all out, and I was honest, and I told her that we are both willing to do the work to move past this, because it's killing us. It's so just like painful and disingenuous to just go through the motions, and we're both so sick of doing that. We want to have that connection. We want to be friends. We want to be there for each other. We want to be in each other's lives. And yesterday I was just honest with her, and I told her, you know, in order for that to occur, this is what needs to happen. Like, you know, I don't want to be shut out. I don't want to be swatted out of the sky and invalidated and told that I'm being too sensitive. That's what she was told her whole life. You know, she's in her early 60s, early mid 60s, and she's been told that literally her entire life, because she's also autistic and didn't know it. And like, having her feelings invalidated her whole fucking life, like to this day, right? So that's all that she knows. And that's the knowledge pool that she is operating from. And I told her that I know that. And I told her that I understand that my mom and dad did the best that they could with me, because they were both fucking neglected and abused at various degrees their whole lives, whether they want to admit it or not. And I know that they love me because I'm their child. And I also know that their actions and their choices that they made during my childhood fucked me up. I told her that all three of those things are true at the same time. And I'm not keeping myself away to punish them. I'm keeping myself protected right now, I told her, while I'm working through all this stuff as my adult self. And she said that she admitted that she was afraid to bring this stuff up to my attention because she didn't want to like bum me out with it, or make me uncomfortable, or make me sad, or make me angry. And I had to tell her that, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't have language. I didn't have the wherewithal or the fucking emotional regulation that an autistic person or neurotypical person had. I didn't know any of that though. So I was a very angry teenager. I had a lot of meltdowns and a lot of storming out of rooms, a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of just chaos. I didn't know what to do with all of it. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know where to put it, you know? But I'm not like that anymore. I had to tell her, you know, I'm turning 32 in December. She had me when she was 32. And I was honest with her. I said, you know, I think that you all still see me as a child because I am your child, and I understand that. But I'm a woman. I'm an adult. And I've been through a lot of work to get to this point where I'm able to put languages to these experiences and allowed to sit with my emotions and accept myself as fully human and not cutting myself off at the knees by not allowing myself to feel. And we came to just such a mutual understanding on so many things yesterday. And it was so nice to have that conversation. And like we've been texting and stuff today. She's been sending me pictures. Her and dad have been like remodeling and moving around a couple of the rooms. And, you know, she has cats too. We're both fucking weird cat witches. Like, hello. Like, and it's been really nice. And I'm going to go visit this Sunday, and I am prepared to have difficult conversations. I'm prepared to make them uncomfortable, even though that's obviously not my goal. But like, the truth of the matter is uncomfortable, objectively. And I told her that I was afraid that Dad wouldn't be receptive or wouldn't be open or would maybe get mad or be dismissive or storm out. But that was me operating from knowledge of his behavior in the past, like when I was a kid, when I was a teen. Like, that's not fair to him of me to do that. And he also wants, you know, this connection. He was at work while I talked to Mom on the phone, so like I didn't get to speak with him on the phone yesterday. But I have to have faith in them. Just like I expect them to have faith in me, that I'm not going to fly off the handle and start screaming and crying because I don't have any other language or any other way to express myself. Like, you know? But yeah, thank you guys. Holy shit. It's been a long time coming, and we were extremely limited contact for a while. But I want us to actually like maintain this newfound connection. I do worry about being triggered, and I know for a fact that I will be, like, because it's been, I don't remember the last time I visited. It's been over a year since I've seen them in person. But, you know, they're still in my childhood home. I lived there for fucking 20 some years. Like, it's still hard for me, even though I've done all this work and this fucking evil book, diabolical book that I bought 2 calendar years ago, and I haven't gotten past chapter 4. But it's very, very easy for me to slip back into old, grooved upon brain grooves of codependency and enmeshment, and still being parentified, even though I am an adult. You know, when I was a kid, I was expected to handle adult-sized problems with grace and infinite wisdom, and never act out, and never speak up, and never do fucking anything wrong. But time has helped with a lot of that. And because I'm prepared for this visit, like I'm saving up spoons and everything, I'm also recording a podcast earlier that day. So like Sunday's going to be a big and busy day. But knowing that helps me prepare for it more. And, you know, I don't anticipate things going sideways. I don't anticipate anyone getting angry. I don't anticipate... I do anticipate difficult conversations to be had, but I don't anticipate it resulting in any of us storming out or stomping away or being like, this conversation's over. Like, none of that. As tired as I am of keeping up this charade of not being really connected with them, I know it's eating them up. And that was hard for me to accept yesterday. Because I don't want them to think that I'm punishing them, because I'm not, you know. But at any rate, let's get into chapter 2. Holy shit, an hour and a half and we finally cracked open this fucking book. Hey, we're here. Who cares? Structure doesn't exist. Who gives a fuck? Okay. I'm not going to read every single word. Like, you know, they have those like examples of people's stories in here, but this chapter has a lot of good shit in it. And then for chapter 3, 2 years ago, I made little slideshows. I would like read a chapter and then summarize it and make an exit, make like a slideshow presentation of like the summary of the chapter. And then I added like my 2 cents in, and I found my old slideshow that I made in 2021. We'll go through that after we read this chapter. But let's fucking get some hydration on board, bitch. Gulp, 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 gulp. Ah. Thank y'all so much for being here, by the way. Holy shit. I can't thank y'all enough. Is that a bean? Hi, Bean! It's a bean. It's a bean. It's a bean. It's a bean. We had another hype train bean. Holy fuck. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out how to sit in this chair. I'm a gargoyle. Okay. Chapter 2. Recognizing the emotionally immature parent. Ow. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. I've got to get comfies. Ugh. Okay. It can be hard to look at your parents objectively because it might feel like you're betraying them, but that isn't the motive here. In this book, our mission is not to disrespect or betray your parents, but to finally see them objectively. I hope you'll see that the discussions of emotionally immature parents in this book are informed by a deep understanding of the reasons for their limitations. As you'll see, much of their immature, hurtful behavior is unintentional. By viewing these and other aspects of your parents more dispassionately, you can understand things about yourself and your history that you might not have thought about before. Most signs of emotional immaturity are beyond a person's conscious control, and most emotionally immature parents have no awareness of how they've affected their children. Yesterday, you know, I told Mom like this summer that being in the house is difficult for me because I've had a lifetime of fucking memories there, good and horrific. And it's just hard. It's hard for me to be there. And she genuinely, this wasn't, you know, this is / genuine. She was like, I know that you've said that before, but I don't understand specifically why. Like what it is that affects you like this. And I essentially told her, you know, coming to the retroactive realization that I was physically punished for the way that my brain works, for things that have always been out of my control. And whenever I thought that I had the language to try to explain that I can't help it, that was seen as an excuse. You know? That's hard. That's what's hard. We aren't trying to blame these parents, but to understand why they are the way that they are. My hope is that any new insights about your parents that you gain from reading this book will have the result of radically increasing your own self-awareness and emotional freedom. I love you, Bean. Lurk away, my sweet love. Lurk away. Take 2. Fortunately, as adults, we have the ability and independence to assess whether our parents can really give us the care and understanding we desire. To judge this objectively, it's important to understand not just your parents' superficial behavioral characteristics, but also their underlying emotional framework. Once you understand these deeper traits and learn what to expect from your parents and how to label their behaviors, you're far less likely to be caught unaware by their limitations. Sorry, reading out loud makes me yawn sometimes. Keep in mind that your thoughts about your parents are private. They may never know what you've gotten from this book, nor do they need to. The goal is for you to gain the self-confidence that comes from knowing the truth of your own story. You are not betraying your parents by seeing them accurately. Thinking about them objectively can't hurt them, but it can help you. So true, bestie. God. Tofu pad thai on the uptake. Do not recommend. Yeah. As you saw in the previous chapter, many moons ago, before I started posting my VODs on YouTube, sorry about that, emotionally immature parents can have devastating impacts on their children's self-esteem and relationships in adulthood. The effects can range from mild to severe depending on the parent's level of immaturity, but the net effect is the same. The children feel emotionally unseen and lonely. This erodes their children's sense of their own lovability and can lead to excessive caution about emotional intimacy with others. Now, this is an exercise I didn't mark in the book, but we'll just verbally do it together. Assessing your parents' emotional immaturity. Human emotional immaturity has been studied for a long time. However, over the years, it has lost ground to an increasing focus on symptoms and clinical diagnosis, using a medical disease model to quantify behaviors as illnesses suitable for insurance reimbursement. Oh, that was a banger of a sentence. But in terms of a deep understanding of people, assessing emotional immaturity is often far more useful, as you're likely to discover when reading this chapter and by completing this exercise. Read through the following statements and check any that describe your parent. Okay. So it's just a list of about a dozen or so little sentences. And, you know, we can talk it out in the chat, you know, like we do. My parent often overreacted to relatively minor things. Yes. Yes, but TBH, so do I. And that can be explained largely by my autism, largely by chronic sensory overload for my whole life. And in the case of my mom, for sure, yes, I think that can explain a lot of it for her too. I still am trying to pin down my dad's neurotype. I can't tell. You know, I don't know enough about him and about his mind to be able to tell. My parent didn't express much empathy or emotional awareness. Yeah, it was, you know, emotions were inconvenient at best in my home. When it came to emotional closeness and feelings, my parent seemed uncomfortable and didn't go there. Yes, shutting it down because don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Very much so. My parent was often irritated by individual differences or different points of view. Oh my God. Yeah. If it weren't for me looking like 50% of my mom and 50% of my dad, I would be sure that I was not their biological child, because our views, values, and beliefs are diametrically opposed. Completely. And we don't talk about it because they know how passionate I am about these things. And it's just a conversation that they don't want to have. I'm willing to have it. Maybe one day. I don't want to say never. When I was growing up, my parent used me as a confidant, but wasn't a confidant for me. Yeah. That's a form of parentification, of adults coming, like parents coming to their child with adult-sized problems and expecting the child to like be there for them, like as a shoulder to cry on and whatnot. Like that's sort of a fucked up dynamic. Like like in more extreme forms of it, it can be known as emotional incest, where, you know, I know people balk at the word incest, and of course well, I'm not talking about sexual incest, I'm talking about literal emotional incest, where you put your, just for lack of a better word, baggage, your adult baggage, onto your child and expect them to like give you advice or be there for you in an adult capacity, but you're a fucking kid. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, my parent often said and did things without thinking about people's feelings. Yeah. I didn't get much attention or sympathy from my parent, except maybe when I was really sick. That's an interesting one. My mom always really cared when I was sick. I don't really... That one doesn't really apply to me. Thankfully. Yeah, same for Pidge, he said. My parent was inconsistent, sometimes wise, sometimes unreasonable. I would say that's true. They've given a lot of sage advice over the years, like common sense things and just things that you learn as you live in the world, but at other times extremely unreasonable and extremely unwilling to dissect or deep dive, you know? If I became upset, my parent either said something superficial and unhelpful or got angry and sarcastic. Depends on what I was upset about. If I tried to bring something to their attention in the past that they did, it was always met with some sort of defensiveness. That's not really the case anymore, but when I was a kid, that definitely was the case. Conversations are mostly centered on my parents' interests. That's a hard one for me because RSD, being the bitch that it is, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, you know, like, I know we're opposed on a lot of shit, but in the past I tried to bring up like a song that I like or an actor that I like or a show that I like, and I would be met with, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like them. Oh, no. Instead of just listening. Like, you don't have to say anything, you know? You don't have to say anything. Even polite disagreement could make my parent very defensive, depending on what it is. Absolutely. It was deflating to tell my parent about my successes because it didn't seem to matter. Yeah, I get that with some things. Like, I've talked before about how, like, I studied music and I did a lot of, like, vocal competitions in college for and like auditioned for opera programs and whatnot, and I got accepted into one in France and one in Canada and a competition in Spain. And each of those times I sort of was talked out of going by them because they were just worried about me traveling by myself, even though I'm fully capable. I was and still am, you know, like. So it got to the point where I was afraid to share when something was going well because I didn't want them to potentially, like, swat it out of the sky. Because that shit hurts, you know? It fucking hurts. Let's see. Facts and logic. Oh. This sentence is just chef's kiss. Facts and logic were no match for my parents' opinions. Bitch. Still not. I'll just be real. Still not. And it's not just parents. It's fucking... So many people are emotionally attached to their assumptions. And if you fucking roll up with unrolls fucking parchment of knowledge and receipts and facts and figures, they don't want to hear any of that shit because they're emotionally attached to what they already believe to be true. It's top-down versus bottom-up thinking, right? Top-down thinkers assume first and then disregard information that they might get later. Bottom-up thinkers, such as myself, infer and gather information and gather data and come to conclusions based on what we learn. And our conclusion can change at any time. And when I was younger, I did have, you know, emotional connections to a lot of my conclusions that I reached, and a lot of them were assumptions. And that's just a product of being raised in the buckle of the Bible Belt, you know, in the 90s and aughts. That's how everybody fucking thought and operated. But such is not the case anymore. My parent wasn't self-reflective and rarely looked at his or her role in a problem. Growing up, very much. Now that time has passed and I have put distance between us in order for me to process the shit and for them to, I guess, process their own perspective of their own shit. I've reached a new level, a new height yesterday with Mom about self-reflection and understanding ourselves and understanding each other, you know? My parent tended to be a black and white thinker and unreceptive to new ideas. Yes, that goes right in with facts and logic or no match for my parents' opinions. It's like, not just unreceptive to new ideas out of malice, unreceptive to new ideas because of the attachment that they had with what they already knew or what they already learned. Oh man, that's how like Southern and evangelical Christianity depends on people to be emotionally attached to this shit. And to be honest, a lot of conservative politics operate like that too. I mean, pretty much all conservative politics is fear-mongering and othering. You know, just fascism light until you dig a little deeper and then you realize it's the full flavor of fascism. Like, it's all based in emotion. Because emotion is fucking powerful. But to me, the truth is more powerful. You know? Okay, I think that was it. Yeah. How many of these statements describe your parent? I didn't count, but the answer is yes. Since all these items are potential signs of emotional immaturity, checking more than one suggests you very well may have been dealing with an emotionally immature parent. Okay. I hear curtsy out in the windy. All right. I'm just doing brain math to see what I can skip for time, but like, I don't care. I'm reading it all. You know what you signed up for when you came here, people. And if you didn't, hi, welcome. We've got screaming cats and confused taters. Personality pattern versus temporary emotional regression. There's a difference between a pattern of emotional immaturity and a temporary emotional regression. Anyone can briefly lose emotional control or become impulsive when tired or stressed, and most of us have plenty to cringe about when we look back on certain moments in our lives. Yes, ouch. However, when a person has a personality pattern of emotional immaturity, certain behaviors show up repeatedly. These behaviors are so automatic and unconscious that people are unaware of doing them. Emotionally immature people don't step back and think about how their behavior impacts others. There's no cringe factor for them, so they seldom apologize or experience regret. I'm like short-circuiting at that because there's no cringe factor.
It's like a lack of introspection.
It is a lack. Yes, Pidge just nailed it. It is a lack of introspection because, bitch, my brain has me fucking pressed over failed social interactions from the 7th grade still to this day. Being unknown autistic in this world means that I have been forced to be introspective my whole fucking life with such bangers and hits as, why don't they like me? Why is making friends so hard? Why can't I do this right? Am I a failure? Do I deserve to breathe air? You know, just the normal hits of being a fucking neurodivergent in a neurotypical world in any way, shape, or form. But I do look back and fucking cringe on how I used to handle shit or not handle shit. How I used to feel about
winner,
things.
winner, chicken dinner.
How I used to feel about things and how I used to process things around me. But I'm now at a point where I don't cringe as much as of course the cringe is real and I'll cringe forever, but like I'm also able to sneak a little bit of self-compassion in there every once in a while and be like, well, you were operating on the knowledge that you had at the time. You're doing the best with what you had at the time. And the same is true with my parents. You know? It's true and it's shitty. It's true and it's shitty. Both can be true. Both are fucking true. Hi, Dolly the Dino. Welcome in, and I am so glad you're here. I love and hate when people relate to this shit. I love it because I love the community that we've built talking about this shit and normalizing it and being vocal about it. But I hate it because you shouldn't have had to go through it, and it sucks and it's difficult and it's painful and it's traumatizing. But at any rate, my darling, I'm so glad that you're here. Okie dokie. All right. Now, ladies, defining maturity. Before we explore emotional immaturity, let's take a look at emotionally mature functioning. Emotional maturity is not a murky matter. Emotional maturity isn't a murky matter of opinion. It's been well and famously studied. Emotional maturity means a person is capable of thinking objectively and conceptually while sustaining deep emotional connections to others. People who are emotionally mature can function independently while also having deep emotional attachments, smoothly incorporating both into their daily life. They are direct about pursuing what they want, yet do so without exploiting other people. They've differentiated from their original family relationships sufficiently to build a life of their own. They have a well-developed sense of self and identity and treasure their closest relationships. Emotionally mature people are comfortable and honest about their own feelings and get along well with other people thanks to their well-developed empathy, impulse control, and emotional intelligence. They're interested in other people's inner lives and enjoy opening up and sharing with others in an emotionally intimate way. When there's a problem, they deal with others directly to smooth out differences. Emotionally mature people cope with stress in a realistic, forward-looking way while consciously processing their thoughts and feelings. They can control their emotions when necessary, anticipate the future, adapt to reality, and use empathy and humor to ease difficult situations and strengthen bonds with others. They enjoy being objective and know themselves well enough to admit their weaknesses. Dolly, I do. I have a younger brother. He's 3 years younger than me. And, you know, all the bullshit that I went through growing up, he went through it worse in a lot of ways. And he has his own entire file cabinet full of trauma and shit that he has to unpack. Oh my God, we're fucking shaking the whole room. I'm so sorry, guys. Listen, it is what it is, okay? He has his own shit that he has to process on his own, and I want us to be close, but he moved really far away, and I haven't spoken to him in a while. And I want that to change, but I also don't want to like pressure it. But like, I've got to get out of my own way and just send the first message. You know, I've talked about that a lot, how sending the first message is hard for me because I don't want to bother people. That's still something I'm trying to work through. Okay, Nova, you're the oldest of three, of two brothers. I'm pretty close with my youngest brother as we're both autistic, but he is only here part-time and we both suck at communicating. Yes. Yeah. I believe that my brother is autistic too. He's definitely the math, science, graphic design, computer whiz autistic. And I am the highly sensitive cat whisperer, art, music, poetry, language, rhetoric, autistic, you know? Yeah. I love my brother too. That's never changed. And I don't care how old we get, I'll be here anytime he needs me. And if he's watching, I hope that he knows that. And I love you a lot. Okay, time to play my favorite game. Where the fuck am I on the page? All right, emotionally immature people, on the other hand, tend to have quite a different set of behavioral, emotional, and mental characteristics. Because these characteristics are so interconnected, people who display one are often prone to the others. So she's got some various characteristics here in little bitty paragraphs. All right. They are rigid and single-minded. As long as there's a clear path to follow, emotionally immature people can do very well, sometimes reaching high levels of success and prestige. But when it comes to relationships or emotional decisions, their immaturity becomes evident. They are either rigid or impulsive and try to cope with reality by narrowing it down to something manageable. Once they form an opinion, their minds are closed. There's one right answer, and they can become very defensive and humorless when people have other ideas. Oof. Metra. I always really took issue with the generalization that autistic people have no empathy. My personal experience is one of hyper empathy. And then Nova. I struggle with both hyper empathy and hypo empathy. Yes. I have a problem with that too. I am such a sensitive ass bitch, and I have come to embrace it and love it and be grateful for it. But also, my empathy is not infinite. My compassion is not infinite. My tolerance is not infinite. And in cases of extreme, like, bigotry and bullshit, my empathy well runneth dry. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand. I can still see that person, whoever I'm having a disagreement with, about human rights, casual. I can understand the road that led them to have this mindset, but that doesn't mean that I fucking empathize with it or empathize with them for thinking it, you know? Buttspot, please. Agent Whiskey Danger. I am sensitive, but when I burn out or someone takes advantage, I'll cut them off in a second. Thank you, Pickle. Yes, Whiskey, listen. Being a people pleaser meant that if there wasn't a bridge to build, I would lay my body down and have people walk on my fucking back for 3 decades. And now I know I'm kind of taking it in the exact opposite direction. I'm kind of, you know, going scorched earth sometimes. But some stuff's non-negotiable for me. And some stuff you can't disagree on and be cool with me. Such as human rights. Such as disability rights, like Asina's talking about. That last excerpt you read immediately made me think of flies away. Immediately made me think of humanitarian things and how I would fit that description, but there's only one correct opinion. Yes, disability rights are human rights. Y'all, I'm taking this motherfucking thing off.
Finally.
It's bothered me enough. Yes.
Wanted it to be your idea.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Pidgel. Yeah, that's not negotiable to me. Disability rights are human rights. Trans rights are human rights. Queer rights are human rights. Black liberation is vital. Marginalized liberation is vital. Like, all of this shit, 1,000,000% is non-fucking negotiable for me. And, bitch, I can't just agree to disagree with people on that. Especially being marginalized myself in various ways. Like, I am a white, cis American woman, so I recognize the privileges that come with that are ample, and I understand that. But I am also queer. I am also a woman. I am also disabled. Like, all of these fucking things exist simultaneously. And people who try to come at me sideways and debate human rights with me don't understand nuance. They're very 0 or 100. They're very yes or no. And they don't know shit about 1 through 99. And I try to tell them about it, and then I get called names. Like, that's not a relationship that I'm trying to maintain with anybody. Like, yeah, cultivate or otherwise. You can get fucked. Okay. Here we go. They have low stress tolerance. Emotionally immature people do not deal with stress well. Their responses are reactive and stereotyped. Instead of assessing the situation and anticipating the future, they use coping mechanisms that deny, distort, or replace reality. Oh my God. My brain is just going 1,000,000 miles an hour thinking about shit. They have trouble admitting mistakes and instead discount the facts and blame others. Regulating emotions is difficult for them, and they often overreact. Once they get upset, it's hard for them to calm down, and they expect other people to soothe them by doing what they want. They often tend to seek comfort in intoxicants or medication as well. Yeah. For me, it's the reactive and stereotypical responses, and instead of assessing the situation and anticipating the future, use denial, distortion, and reality replacement for me. It's the all of that for me, especially regarding COVID. Being immunocompromised means I have had to extremely limit my public interactions. I do exist in public, but not to the length that I want to, not to the length that I'm safe doing so. And, you know, the United States is hyper-individualistic as fuck, and they see disability as a personal failing and something that we must deserve if we're disabled and that we're less than. And Nothing's more important to people than having the freedom to spend the money that they sell their lives to make. You know? These are the same people who, when businesses were closed for 2 months in 2020, were protesting it with signs that say, I want haircuts and I fucking need happy hour and whatnot. Just like, how up your own ass do you have to be? You know? How up your own ass do you have to be to ignore reality as it's unfolding in front of you? I don't know. All right. They do what feels best. Young children are ruled by feelings, whereas adults consider possible consequences. Except when I was a kid, I had to think of the consequences because they were often painful to endure. As we mature, we learn that what feels good isn't always the best thing to do. Among emotionally immature people, however, the childhood instinct to do what feels good never really changes. They make decisions on the basis of what feels best in the moment and often follow the path of least resistance. They don't like to rock their own boat. I say that shit all the fucking time. If you're a mature person and think before you act, you might find it hard to imagine living by what feels good in the moment. So there is an example of the jaw-dropping behavior of the emotionally immature person. Anna convinced her brother Tom to come with her to talk to their elderly father about going into assisted living. After visiting with their father for a bit, the time came to talk seriously. Suddenly, Tom was nowhere to be found. Anna searched the house and then looked out the front window in time to see her brother getting in his car and leaving. Thomas, that's just shitty as hell, bro. Anna was incredulous and wondered how Tom could run out like that. But when you realize that in that moment, walking out of the house felt much better than staying for a difficult confrontation, it makes sense. Like I said, when I visit Sunday, I don't anticipate anything like that happening. Because we're all involved parties are just fucking tired of going through the motions and we want to be in each other's lives. And I've laid it out plainly what I need as my adult self in order to have that, because I can't go through the motions. I can't ignore this shit. I have questions about what I've been through. I want them to answer for things that I've been wondering my whole fucking life. I want to ask them that night that I fell and hit my head on the porcelain tub and it fucking swelled up to the size of a grapefruit. I want to ask them why they didn't take me to the hospital. Not in a gotcha way, but I'm advocating for my child self as my adult self because it's still me. And frankly, I deserve to know the truth. I mean, it happened fucking 25 years ago. I'm not trying to hold them to the flame or hang them on the cross or interrogate them for a murder. Like, I just want to know, because that will give me a sense of I don't know if closure is the right word. I just need to know. Okay. They are subjective, not objective. Emotionally immature people assess situations in a subjective way, not objectively. They don't do much dispassionate analysis. When they interpret situations, how they are feeling is more important than what is actually happening. What is true doesn't matter nearly as much as what feels true. What the fuck? What is true doesn't matter nearly as much as what feels true. People are emotionally attached to their assumptions. I'm holding it like a nutsack. Their nutsack of assumptions. Look at my hands. Naturally, this is a position.
This is your assumption. And this is what I think about them.
Let me grip your assumption. Why is your hand cold and wet, sir?
Because I'm cleaning my bowl.
Sir!
It's gross and ugh. I needed to.
You may leave the bench.
Look, it's almost like it's brand new.
Yeah, you're making headway with it.
Is your hand cold?
Bitch, I've had this fresh bowl packed for 2 hours and I haven't hit it yet. So I think it's time. It's legal in my state, therefore it's legal on my stream. Do not come for me. Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Me too, Asina Metra. Me too. I have edibles in the fridge. I have already partaken today. And my asthma hates this. I know, okay? Let me have my vice. I get it. I get it, okay? I get... These just cancel each other out. All the time. Okay? Dolly, nice! Vaping your homegrown. Cheers. Thank you, K-Nova. Thank you! K-Nova, they said, I support your bad choices. We're all allowed to have one bad choice per day, and that's mine, okay? Yes. No cats were harmed in the making of that toss. Thank you, baby. Whew. Motherfucker, don't start. Okay? Stop it. Y'all. This is a long chapter. I'm just keeping it a buck with you right now, okay? The ADs are HDing because I'm unmedicated. Basically. Well, I'm half medicated. I'm 5 weeks weaned. I'm growing up fast. Alright, 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 alright. Here we go. This is a good one. They have low empathy and are emotionally insensitive. Good night if you fall asleep. Okay, Nova. Sleepy friend. It's an honor to be a part of your evening / night / time zone. And that goes for all of you, okay? Whether you're here right now, whether you're active in the chat, lurker, or listener now, or later on YouTube. YouTube.com/@potatum with the number 8 is where my VODs live. I have them uploaded 1 to 2 days after the stream. Okay, mister, you're wobbling? Okay, he's rubbing on the monitor and wobbling it. I'm going to need for you to not. Come here, I want to show you to the people. Hey, mister. Oh, my gainies. Look at the mister. Ugh. You put your finger in my mouth. I bet you have lipstick on your finger.
I do, just a smidge. Just a smidge for pitch.
This is Mister. That is his government name. Ah, Minka, stinka, what you pinka? He wants to purr so bad.
Look at the camera.
He doesn't want to look at the kitty camera.
He... What, is it PDA? He's got the biggest PDA.
Yeah, all
Once
of
I
our
pick him up,
all of our cats are autistic. Mister's PDA is fuck. Picky is extremely introverted. And Flurb is... Mister, you are shaking. You gotta go.
Hey, bud.
You don't pass the vibe check.
Got too much energy.
Mommy shakes the desk enough as it is, okay? She doesn't need any assistance. I think Flurb's PDA as well. Alright. Flurb does have RSD. Brr. Okay, guys, listen. My ADHDs don't want me to finish this chapter. My ADHDs just want me to get to the pretty, colorful presentation that I made 2 years ago. So, we're going to do that. We just hit the 2-hour mark. We're going to take another quick BRB. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. Snack them if you got them. Stretch them if you got them. And we'll be back in a jiff. Hey. We are back. We are back. We are back. What do you mean failed to send? Don't fucking start with me.
Don't fucking start with me.
I hate Twitter. I'm tweeting that I'm still live because it's been a long one and some people might not know it. Technology not working is the bane of my motherfucking life. There it went. Alright. Here we are, guys. We're back. Chapter 2, it's in the past. We don't talk about it anymore. This is now... This is now Chapter Trace. And, yeah, this is a little slideshow that I made for Instagram 2 years ago when I still used it. And this is basically summarizing Chapter 3. Mixed with the contents of the book and mixed with my own thoughts. Can I just say I appreciate this stream format. I appreciate that you appreciate it. Damn it. I struggle immensely with reading books, and this is a cool way to get to read along. Yes, I'm gonna do more like physical presentations because I very much, honestly, I don't see how y'all sit through me just reading, you just watching words come out of my face. Like, I like to have images with words so I can follow along as well. So, gonna get my fucking spoons going and start doing this more. So, all right. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can do this with the keyboard. Okay, great. All right. So, the impacts of emotional immaturity. Shout out Canva. I used Canva for all my graphic needs. I can't fucking sing its praises enough. Oh my gosh, I am so appalled and disgusted to hear that I am highly entertaining. Just kidding. JK, what a travesty. Dun dun. Do I have a death sound on my...
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Nope, that's... No, I wouldn't say that would be it either. How about
They
this?
ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
How we feeling out there tonight? Yeah, I am not feeling good.
All right, here we go. An interaction with an emotionally immature person can leave you feeling rejected, invalidated, and isolated. And 2023 Tatum has something to add to this, a new word that I'm trying to get into the lexicon and the zeitgeist: defleeted. The simultaneous feeling of deflation and defeat. It just works. The dynamics of adult interpersonal relationships are often modeled after what we grew up with. If our earliest relationships, the ones with our parents, were volatile and emotionally unstable, the impacts can be profound, and are and have been and continue to be. Does this sound familiar? I didn't feel listened to. I rarely received my parents' full attention. My parents' moods affected the whole household. Yes, that heavy on that one. Insight being what it is, I now understand more so why that was, but like the saying in the house growing up was, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Like, come on now. They make fucking decorations that say that shit at Cracker Barrel. Live, laugh, love. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Let's see. Blue Lives Matter. Come and take them.
Don't wake daddy while he's sleeping.
Don't wake daddy while he's sleeping. You know, just Cracker Barrel merch. Happy wife, happy life. You already know.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. My parent wasn't sensitive to my feelings. True. I felt like I should have known what my parent wanted without being told. Oh my fucking God. Anybody else, their parents wanted or expected you to fully be Raven Baxter?
Yes.
If I could gaze into the future, maybe I wouldn't get my ass beat so much. I felt like I could never do enough to make my parent happy. Yeah. Pidge and I talk a lot about this stuff. Like, this, I feel like it just reminds me of Pidge, like you saying, you know, the goalpost was always moved. Like, you would meet an expectation and then it wouldn't be like good job or like thank you. It would be like, well, see, why can't you do this all the time?
Look at what you do when you put your mind to
When you put your mind to it, look what you can accomplish, you know? And other bullshit hits, you know? I tried harder to understand my parent than they tried to understand me. I was in such a different headspace and like level of progress and level of understanding with my own neurodivergence and my understanding of my parents' neurodivergence, like when I made this. And in the 2 years that have passed since I've made this, I have just taken a fucking mandolin and peeled every layer of my soul down to its singular atom to try to understand myself. And then I did the same fucking process with my parents. Like, automatically. It wasn't a choice that I made. It was like, oh, this is something I have to do. I have to make sense of this. My brain just wouldn't let it go. Open and honest communication with my parent was difficult and sometimes impossible. Always impossible until now, for me. Until me as my adult self showed up. Said, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to discuss. We need to process, you know. My parent believed a person should play their role and never deviate from it. My parents were never really big on shaming me for making different choices, like overtly. There was a lot of passive aggressiveness in my household growing up, and like also a lot of indifference. It wasn't so like overt and in my face, like this is what you have to do, you cannot deviate from this. But I definitely fucking know it exists. It exists in so many other parental/child relationships. My parent was intrusive or disrespectful of my privacy and boundaries. Laughs in, y'all already know what I'm about to say. I didn't know what the word boundary was until I was like 28 years old. And all this simultaneous fuck shit that I've been discovering and processing is all connected to itself. Being a people pleaser, being autistic, having ADHD, being traumatized over and over again by a world not built for me and by my home life and school life. Being expected to do unbelievable fucking things that no one can realistically live up to sustainably, and being punished if I don't meet that goal. Boundaries did not exist in my home. At all. At all. I always felt that my parent thought I was too sensitive and emotional. We've literally already discussed this tonight. I'm just trying to adjust this a little. I feel like you can only see me from the neck up, and that ain't cool. There. I feel a little better. Let's see. Is that all? Yeah, okay. My parent played favorites in terms of who got the most attention. Yeah, I'm the eldest daughter, with an exorbitant amount of pressure on me to perform and to be like the unofficial third parent to my younger brother in a lot of scenarios. And I was the unofficial favorite. So like all the bullshit I went through, I just know that it doesn't reach the depths of, it just doesn't reach the same depths as the depths of my sibling, what he went through. So yeah, definitely my parents played favorites. My parents stopped listening when they didn't like what was being said. Oof. Right in the ouch. Yeah. So much progress, so much headway could have been made so much sooner if they weren't so afraid of their feelings. And they weren't so afraid to feel and afraid to be vulnerable. we talk about this all the time, me and Pidge, about projections and expectations in like a patriarchal society. Me being a cis woman, PJ being a cis man, each of us having vastly different expectations projected onto us as far as gender roles and gender expectations and gendered expectations. I mean, we have since obviously like fucking worked so hard to dismantle all of that shit, but if you don't know that that's like what your driving force is, if you don't know that different things can be true in your life, then it's hard to deviate from that. And it's hard for like a lot of like, just speaking, like summarizing what you've said before, Pidge, about being taught that your emotions are a sign of weakness. And a lot of like vulnerable emotions or sensitive emotions or sad, introspective even emotions are seen as feminine. And in a patriarchal society, that's like the worst thing you could be seen as, right?
Yeah.
Like so many phobias, xenophobias are because of fear of femininity and disdain for femininity, and like homophobia, transphobia. A lot of those are heavily influenced by misogyny, heavily influenced by it. All of this shit's connected, people. I say it all the fucking time. I'm such a broken record, it's pathetic. But it's all connected. Yeah, I saw you in the back wrangling, was that Mr. Pro style?
Yeah.
God, that's funny. I often felt guilty, stupid, bad, or ashamed around my parents. Heavy on the guilt. Heavy on the guilt. Lilithy? Yes, Lilithy TV. Yes. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you 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 for the follow. I appreciate you so much, friend. Thank you. Yeah, heavy on the guilt, heavy on the shame. A lot of it's self-inflicted too, though. Still, to this day. Especially, you know, every 28 days. Like clockwork. Anybody else with a uterus love to think about launching themselves into the sun? I always want a burger just an hour after Macca's closes. What?
No, sir, every time you're streaming.
Oh, every time I'm streaming,
Well, and,
it's
know,
midnight, yeah.
And I look over and I'm like, ooh, I would go grab some Macca's. It's fucking, it closed an hour ago.
Well, Pickle said that's a skill issue, babe. It's a skill issue on your part that McDonald's closed an hour ago. And you've never worked at a McDonald's. You've never managed the schedule. But it's still your fault. My parent rarely apologized or tried to improve the situation when problems arose between us. Of course, given yesterday's truly like amazing and enlightening and relieving conversation I had with Mom, I'm speaking about in the past, growing up, what I'm used to, what the pattern used to be, right? Something would happen. I would ask a clarifying question, or I would be overloaded sensorily and be crying or angry, or my brain would be somewhere else and I closed the door too hard and they thought I slammed the door and had an attitude, and I would get my ass beat or get yelled at or get grounded, something to that effect, right? And there was never any really talk about it. It was more so just outward punishment. You don't do that. Slap, 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 or whatever, right? And it never got resolved. It would always go from that, like the heat of that moment, and me like for hours. And then maybe the rest of the night we didn't talk much or whatever. And then the next day, Etch-a-Sketch.
Yep.
Good morning! How are you today? I honestly would rather have you still be upset with me than to do this fucking mind trick you're trying to do with me right now. Like,
That's some real my tempo whiplash.
that is some whiplash starring J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller. My tempo.
My tempo.
My tempo.
My tempo.
Yeah, dude. Apologies. Didn't know her. I made a TikTok about this a long time ago, actually. Follow me on TikTok, by the way. Up there. Potatum with the number 8. I would love to hit 50K before my birthday. My birthday's on Christmas Eve. And it's almost the year mark. On November 17th last year, I started my TikTok as Potatum. And just fell right into the community. And built my own little community. And holy shit. I'm at like 49 now. My follower count is off because I got shadow banned. And it's a whole fucking thing. Follow me on there because I talk about all kinds of shit. But I had to teach myself how to apologize. Because apologies... Here, just a little sidebar. Apologies and accountability were never really modeled to me. Like, at all. At home. And that resulted in me not being like prepared to own up to when I make an actual mistake. I was always expected to say sorry for things that weren't my fault, things that I didn't do, things that I wasn't responsible for, but because I was in the room, I was. You know what I mean? Like, but as far as me actually hurting someone's feelings or actually needing to take accountability for something, for most of my childhood and like my teens, I did not know how to do that at all. Because it wasn't taught to me. It wasn't modeled to me. And like, that slowly turned into various fucking phases of me learning how to apologize. Like, it turned into like me getting really, really... Well, no, that didn't come first. What came first is the I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. Like, it felt so foreign and uncomfortable and like not correct and not as important as how I felt for me to say, I'm very sorry that I hurt you. Like, for a long time it was, I'm sorry you feel that way, which is not an apology, which is not accountability. And that's not owning up to anything. That's dismissing your part in why they feel that way. And then that turned into me getting really defensive, not out of malice, but out of, no, if I could just get them to understand why I said that, why I did that, why I didn't say that, didn't do that, then they'll understand and they won't be hurt anymore. Not realizing that that was not an apology either, you know? And like, I struggled with this like through my fucking 20s. And I had to learn through experiencing shitty apologies from other people when they really hurt me, and putting myself in their position and being like, if I were made to feel this way by another person, how would I want them to approach me, to own up to it? How would I want this to be handled? How would I want this to be addressed? And I had to literally unlearn all that passive-aggressive, defensive, non-apology shit and learn how to actually say the words, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry that I blank. And on days where I'm particularly like dysregulated and just like PMDDing or whatever, or entirely spoonless, I find myself resorting back to those old habits out of familiarity, or I find myself wanting to, and I have to manually override it. Still, at my big age, at this very day. Like, when I say I had to teach myself how to not do that, that doesn't mean I don't fucking still do it, or I don't feel inclined to still act out of old coping mechanisms, you know? But I had to teach myself how to apologize, and Reparenting yourself is not fucking easy. If it was, everybody who needed to do it would do it. Oops. Okay. I often felt pent-up anger toward my parent that I couldn't express or describe. Lilithy TV, thank you, first time chat. Half apologies are an interesting neurotypical thing. Most autists don't apologize that way. Yes, I do notice a lot of like, and it's like, it goes back to what I said earlier about top-down thinking and being emotionally attached to your assumptions. For me, not knowing how to apologize meant that for a long time, I was emotionally attached to my truth. I was emotionally attached to my... Hello, I just bitch slapped this microphone. What? I was emotionally attached to my own perspective. And because I felt so unseen, unheard, invalidated by my environment, I wanted more than anything for someone to hear me, for someone to hear where I was coming from, for someone to understand why I did that, even if I didn't understand it yet. Like, God, when you start to unravel this sweater, the thread just fucking branches out into 8 more threads, and then it just multiplies exponentially, and then you're fucking left in a room full of yarn. It's like, what the fuck? Die is cast. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follow, friend. Thank you for the follow, friend. What are your top 3 interests right now, and how has it evolved over the last 3 years? Oh my gosh. That question is impossible for me to answer because my autistic ass has me like, are we talking movies? Are we talking current hyper focuses? Are we talking things that give me dopamine? Like, right now, my top 3 interests in life, the things that I spend the most of my brain time thinking about, talking about, is art, designing art, like graphic design and like clothing design. That's like, my brain is just fucking obsessed with that, and looking at it and looking at other people's designs and getting inspiration from that. Another one is RuPaul's Drag Race. I had never seen an episode in my life until like the day or two before my birthday last year, like the end of December. And when I tell you, Pidge and I have binged over a dozen seasons in completion, and we quote it all the time. It's in our lexicon. It's like second nature. We're all the time rewatching it and like talking about it and keeping up with the queens, and like, I haven't really deep dove into a fandom and a universe like this in a really, really long time. My other top 3. When I'm working, I listen to a lot of criminal justice cases and true crime cases. That's been a very consistent, deep, passionate interest and fascination for most of my life, to the point where at one point I wanted to be like a homicide investigator, or like like a criminal, like fucking investigator of some sort. But you know, you have to take chemistry and whatnot, and I'm afraid of bad smells. So, you know, kind of impossible to be around death if you are incapable of fucking withstanding the senses that come along with that. But I'm fascinated by how people's minds work and what drives people to do things. And I'm fascinated in learning about people's lives and how that shapes and frames the decisions that they make. I think all of my interests that have followed me through my life at some level have the why factor, like figuring out the why in something, or finding out what happens next, like getting to the truth, getting to the end of something. And that's been like the main fucking, one of my main driving things that gets me out of bed in the morning. That and spite, of course. Of course. But thank you for asking. I would love to hear your also top 3 across all-time interests. Please. I want to hear from all y'all in the comments below. And I want to take a drink. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to really talk about this. The pent-up anger toward my parent that I couldn't express or describe. Talking about being largely emotionally dysregulated and not having the language for that. Having a lot of unanswered questions that have since been answered for me in my mind, and learning about my neurodivergence and whatnot. But that alleviated and got rid of a lot of that indescribable anger that I felt, like, in general. A person with a limited awareness of their feelings tends to act out their emotional needs instead of discussing them. Emotional contagion is the biological phenomenon in which a person's emotions are caught by another person. It's how infants and children communicate their needs. Emotional contagion from an upset baby to a concerned parent motivates, or should motivate, the caretaker to take steps to calm that child. In a relationship with an emotionally immature parent and their child, though, the roles are reversed. The child catches the contagion of the parent's distress and feels responsible for soothing their parent. Et voila! The people pleaser is born. Yeah. The people pleaser in me was born, you know, being expected to keep everybody in the house happy, even to my detriment, and like especially to my detriment. What was going on in my head wasn't really a priority. As long as I did what I was supposed to do, like that was the priority that was like hammered home in my house growing up. So yeah, this is for all the people pleasers out there. I love you and I'm sorry. Emotionally immature parents don't try to understand the emotional experiences of other people, including their own children. If their impulsive and insensitive actions are brought to their attention, they may respond with a dismissive and invalidating statement meant to riddle you with guilt. And you all may be familiar with some of these greatest hits. You should have just said so. This is me saying so. Right now, I'm saying so to your face. I tried to tell you 12 years ago and I got my ass beat for it. So now that I'm too big to get whooped, or you'll catch a charge for actual assault, because children are for some reason the only group of people or human or living being that you can hit legally, I am telling you so. Right now. Don't blame me for not telling you sooner. Accept it now. Are words that I wish I could have had at the age of 10. I'm not a mind reader. I know. That's why I'm voicing them out loud. With words. Vocally. Or textually. Don't be so sensitive. Sure. Because it's a simple flick of a switch, isn't it? All of my hypersensitive folks out there knows how easy it is to just turn it off, right, guys? Bitch, I'd have to be unconscious. Like, literally, I'd have to be comatose. And even then. I'm just saying what I think. Sure, that's valid, but have you considered that what you say affects other people? Have you considered that what you think and how you view me as a human affects me? I know it's just what you think, but what you think is hurting me, you know? If you could go back in time, what would you wish they did? Yeah, parents. I would have loved if they just like held space for me to be a human. If they allowed me to exist as I was. If they didn't force me to be anybody but me. If my natural traits and my neurotype and the way I process and interpret the world wasn't punished all the time, then I wouldn't have I wouldn't have only gotten to know myself at the age of 29, 28. Stifling, wow, spit everywhere. Stifling a child's humanity because you want them to be quiet or whatever, you want kids to be seen, not heard, is setting that kid up for a lifetime of fuck shit. And really, there are only two options when you are traumatized as a kid. A lot. I'm talking about like complex trauma. PTSD, usually it refers to like one large traumatizing event, but if you're traumatized over and over again by your environment, by your interpersonal relationships, by anything like that, that's complex PTSD or C, PTSD. And that's like a relatively new fucking thing that they're even beginning to accept as being real. But there's really only two options. You perpetuate the cycle or you break the cycle. And even reaching neutral is breaking the cycle. If your norm was chaos and instability and volatility, then if you want to have kids and you have kids and you don't fucking physically punish them the way you were physically punished, that is a form of breaking the cycle. You can still be like super emotionally like ambivalent and invalidating, but like that's a whole different thing, right? I really wish my parents would have met me halfway, would have seen the humanity in me, would have treated me as a human instead of a tiny machine. I say it, I've said it a lot, we've talked about it a lot on here, but like, I feel like, based on what I've been told, based on my life, this isn't me pulling it out of my ass, I feel like part of the reason why my parents had kids was to have someone take care of them when they got older. And that's a hard pill to fucking swallow because, hello? None of us asked to be here, and that it really sucks to look at your predetermined destiny that your parents wanted you to be and to be the opposite of that in so many ways. My parents wanted me to be a doctor. Like, just so many things I'm not doing. I'm not having kids of my own. I'm not working publicly. I'm not a fucking Republican. I'm not a Christian. I'm not straight. I don't go along just to get along. That's a lot. I wish my parents would have understood that I just needed understimulation for a while. Yes. When I felt anxious, they wanted to be closer to comfort. Yes. Just understanding when you need the space. Like, yes. That is so valid. Like, for a long time, I didn't know that that's what I needed because my environment hardwired me to blame myself for all my problems. And I had to fucking iron out the lumps myself. That's why I'm so stubbornly fucking independent and self-taught in so many ways, because that's the reality that was forged for me. I had to become self-taught out of necessity, out of survival for a lot of things. And that involved me learning language, learning when I'm overloaded, learning what that means, learning what emotional dysregulation means, learning what executive dysfunction means, learning about sensory processing issues, learning about my undying need to have the answer of whatever is in front of me. If something doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to instinctually ask for more clarification, but my environment literally beat that out of me to such an extent that I had to teach myself how to do a lot of shit. Ay, ay, ay. It's just so much. It's just so much. Sylvia, my parents wanted 6 kids. Oh my goodness. Had no money. Were both raised by abusive alcoholics and only like babies. Oh my God. That's like a whole other thing. We talked about this last stream. If you haven't watched it, YouTube/potatum number 8 up there in the search bar. My VOD's up. We talked about being child-free by choice for a really long time. The stream was a really long time. Like, we are always child-free by choice. Having baby fever is not a good enough reason to bring a human life into the world, because fevers expire, fevers go away. Like, it's the same logic as getting a pet. Bitch, I only have 1 tattoo on my entire body. It's this geometric platypus. And it took me 10 years to decide. And I'm not joking. It took me 10 years to decide what tattoo I wanted to have on my body forever. And now I want like 100 more, but I'm so indecisive. And that's just a tattoo. Like, don't have a kid on a whim. Because you're feeling froggy that day. Babies grow, and they grow up fast. And not only do you have to keep children alive by law, but it would be awesome if you didn't actively traumatize them every single day too. You know? Regardless of their... Wait. I didn't read the last one here. I can't change who I am. That was a big one. And in the context that I put this on this fucking whatever it's called slide, was whenever I would bring up ways that their emotional impulsivity and their emotional reactiveness would hurt me. Well, I can't change who I am. Not realizing that what they're talking about isn't who they are. It's their emotional attachment to their perspective. And that attachment is so profound and so strong that they didn't have room to hold space for anyone else's perspective, especially the perspective of a child. Children aren't supposed to have perspectives in the 90s and aughts in Southern Appalachia. We're baby capitalists in training. Get it right. Okay. Regardless of their response, the message remains the same. They can't be expected to make the effort to understand anyone else's perspective. Wow. Literally what I just said. Repeated miscommunications and misinterpretations can stir up feelings of anger in the person whose needs aren't being met. Some of us internalize and repress our anger out of fear or guilt or corporal punishment. This can lead to harsh self-criticism and self-blame. Yes. 3 decades of it, bitch. Regardless of what we were told as children, anger and rage are adaptive biological responses to feelings of abandonment. Once we realize that our responses to emotional injuries are valid and natural, we can begin to understand the source of our anger and see ourselves in a more forgiving light. Jesus Christ. I forgot how much this book absolutely bangs and slaps and fucks and spits. This motherfucker be spitting. And by motherfucker, I respectfully with love mean Lindsay C. Gibson, PsyD, author of this book. Wherever Dr. Gibson is, I hope they had a wonderful day today. Oh. This goes into what we were talking about earlier about, or what we talk about just like in general. Earlier could mean last stream. It could mean a year ago. Whatever. About seeing emotions as objectively neutral. And bitch, trust me, I know I am someone who apologizes still to this day, even though I'm trying not to, for crying or getting emotional unexpectedly. But I'm trying my best to be nice to myself instead of punishing myself and be like, God, why am I such a whiny fucking bitch? Just allowing myself to be surprised if I start crying, like, wow, I wasn't expecting this, but not hating myself for fucking crying. Same with anger and rage. Anger and rage, like the book says here, are adaptive. Ow, fuck.
Oh,
Not me punching myself in the fucking headphone.
how's your headphone?
Anger and rage are adaptive biological responses to feelings of abandonment. The emotion in and of itself is neutral. Of course, the actions that we take based on those emotions, that's where harm can be caused. And a lot of people conflate that with the emotion itself. The emotion itself is neutral. And my God, I wish I could fucking remember that. I wish I could remember that when I'm not in a room of friends who are validating and compassionate, when I'm by myself fucking ruminating over this shit and the self-shame goblin wants to creep up and pipe up. Well, I wish she would pipe the fuck down. I do. I mean that disrespectfully. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel anger about not having your needs met. We were talking about disability justice. Disability rights are human rights. And, you know, activists and advocates, if they're not speaking from firsthand experience, they're speaking from a place of like objective empathy and understanding of the plight of whoever they're advocating for, and seeing the shit that group goes through, whoever it is, disabled people, queer people, trans people, you know, black, brown, indigenous people. Like, it makes you fucking angry to see that other people are suffering, or to know that you yourself are suffering because your needs are not being met in society. And that's on the neutral end of things, just not having your needs met. As we fucking know, oppression is systemic and foundational. It's one of the pillars that holds up this fucking rickety ass country of ours. America! And indifference would be refreshing, because a lot of these marginalized communities are discouraged from fucking existing, and that is rage inducing. Rage, spite, and the desire for the truth are what get me out of bed in the morning personally. Anger and rage used to be this just floating cloud of question marks above my head that I didn't know what to do with or where to put it, but now it literally, I just put it in my tank. I allow it to fuel me to fucking make shit happen. Or at least try to make shit happen. Try to open up the floor to have these conversations. Trying to talk about shit that people are afraid to talk about, are uncomfortable to talk about, and normalizing it. Because it's a part of the fucking human experience, you know? So yeah. That was it. Damn. I think I only made 10 slides because Instagram only had spots, like 10 slots for like a slideshow. But I don't fucking use Instagram anymore. And don't try to talk me into it. I've tried to be talked into it multiple times this year. It's not going to happen. I did contemplate getting Threads. I'm not doing it. No heart emoji. But anyway, now that I don't have that slot limit for the slides, I'm going to make more in-depth slides summarizing the chapters instead of just sitting here and reading every word, because that's all well and good, but like sometimes this stuff just says the same shit in different orders, and it talks, and you know, or it harkens back to what we've already talked about. I wanted to try to trim all the excess and just get the guts of what each chapter is about, put them in a slide form so we can talk about them, because like, I don't know about y'all, but this was really like validating for me personally. Like, a lot of you say that this stuff helps you, and I love that so much, and it's an honor to share that knowledge with you all, but I need y'all to know that you help me just as much. Pickle, I'm still trying to figure out, there's a hair on my lip. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out how to get past the dissociation phase of my more intense emotions. I just hate feeling them and do what I can to bury and ignore them. Yes. I'm wrangling my thoughts. I also do that. I also dissociate, compartmentalize, try to remove myself from thinking about this stuff for a lot of different reasons. Mostly, here lately anyway, it's been because all these thoughts quickly transform into spiral-shaped thoughts, and then they start having their own gravitational pull. And then before I know it, I'm at the bottom of the well being like, how the fuck did I get here? And I'm just like bathing in spiral-shaped thoughts of intensity and just heaviness. So like Pidge said, I use weed. Weed's medicinal. It gives my brain a wisp of a structure that otherwise would not exist. But that is a half joke. Sometimes I know. Okay. Recalculating. Something I've recently learned how to do is to feel my feelings instead of intellectualizing my feelings. And I'll break down what each of those are. I used to think that me going, okay, let me figure this out. Why am I feeling like this? Oh, well, I'm feeling like this because as a child, my blah, 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 blah. And as an adult, my blah, 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 blah. And just figuring it out in fucking PowerPoint style, akin to what we just witnessed. I used to think that was feeling my feelings. I used to think that figuring out my feelings were feeling my feelings. I used to think that putting labels to my feelings were feeling my feelings. That's not what that is. That was me intellectualizing it and like putting distance between myself and the feelings by like examining them from an outside perspective. But feeling my feelings or feeling your feelings is literally exactly that. It's taking a mental note of where in your body you are experiencing whatever sensation you're experiencing. Like, if I'm fucking stressed about something, I truly have to actively sit there, manually override my need to intellectualize it and say, okay, my neck is fucking tight. Oh my gosh, I need to loosen my jaw. Bitch, when's the last time you blinked? You need to rub your eyes. You need to stand up. Your heart is pounding. You feel this tightness in your chest. Your ears are ringing. And just identifying where in your body this feeling exists and allowing yourself to sit in it. Not lather in it. Not exfoliate in it. Not baste and slow roast in it. But to just exist in it. Because what I didn't realize was that by me separating myself from my feelings and trying to put intellectualized labels on them, I wasn't allowing myself to feel them. I could explain them. I could make a lovely Canva-esque PowerPoint presentation about them. But that didn't allow me to feel them. So, identifying it in my body also helps me take myself out of the need to contextualize them because my brain's too busy identifying physical sensations in my body. And by way of doing that, my body feels what it needs to feel and then it starts to let it go. And for a long ass time, y'all, peace used to make me uncomfortable. I used to always be like waiting for the other shoe to drop because chaos was my default. But when these bodily feelings start to pass, I let them pass now. I used to like try to reel them back in so that I could just be familiar and be like surrounded by familiar chaos. But truly physically allowing yourself to feel your feelings has helped me anyway eliminate the distance that I used to put between me and those feelings by way of contextualizing them, putting language to them. I'm not saying that that's not important, because it absolutely is. I think that both are important. I think that allowing yourself to feel your feelings helps it pass. You know, it's kind of like the sooner I can fucking feel this shit, the sooner it can be over until the next time it happens, right? Because everything is temporary. But by figuring out the why, in those moments where it's super, super intense, you can remind yourself of the why. If the guilt and the shame starts to get super, super intense, like old habits, you know, you can remind yourself of the why. And for me, that allows a little bit of self-compassion to slip in. And a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of being easy on myself in those moments. Because, bitch, I don't know about you, but when I'm feeling several types of ways about whatever, there's usually no one that's tougher on me than me. Just decades old coping mechanisms, decades old avenues of guilt and shame. You know? None of this shit's fucking perfect. None of it works 100% of the time. I only have about a good week and a half out of each month on average. So I'm up, down, and all around with this shit. But that's why I talk about this stuff. Because this book has been invaluable to me. Coming to terms with my trauma, coming to terms with my parents' trauma even, coming to terms with my autism and my ADHD, coming to terms with my codependency, my people-pleasing tendencies, my old survival mechanisms. And why the fuck would I keep this to myself? Because my life has changed so colossally and so magnificently in the past 2 years because of all the shit that I'm learning about myself and about my life and about my reality, that why the fuck wouldn't I share this with anybody else who needs to hear it? So that's why I do what I do. That's like my driving force, besides spite, besides rage, besides the need to find out why, is to share this shit with other people, to hear from other people who also share this shit, to come full circle and build connections with those people, to have a community of all ages, all walks of life who just fucking get it. And we have each other's back, and we like commiserate, and we understand. I want to afford y'all the space and the compassion that y'all didn't have growing up, you know? It's only fair. Fair. I know we're talking about weed and medicine and stuff right now, and I'm just having you know, lightning brain, slowly weaning myself off of my ADHD medication. I want everyone to have conversations in good faith in the chat. I want everyone to keep things neutral, you know? This is like judgment fucking free, you know? And we do talk a lot, we talk about a lot of shit. A lot of heavy, sensitive, important, vulnerable shit. So, you know, all I ask is that we keep it neutral in the chat. We understand where each other's coming from on like a basic level. Like, my autistic ass, I don't know about y'all, but tone indicators in the chat have saved me from many a misunderstanding and misinterpretation. Like, Pickle uses them a lot, like when he's making a joke in the chat that might not read as one /J. You know, if you don't know about tone indicators, please consider looking them up and learning about them and using them, because text is the easiest way, the easiest format to get shit misconstrued and to misunderstand someone's tone. And it's a constant fucking struggle for me, so I get it. I want everyone to be safe to speak on their experiences here. I also don't want people to feel like they can't speak their mind, but, you know, if things get out of hand or if other people start coming in and it kind of gets a little combative, I do have a lovely team of mods who will step in and take it privately. I'm not saying that that's what's happening right now. I just don't, this is just housekeeping stuff that I never really say out loud on stream. But I love y'all, and I'm glad that we can have these conversations. And, of course, yeah, we're all adults, like, totally. I'm not trying to be like the fucking gym teacher with his whistle. You know what I mean? Like, I just want you all to know where I'm coming from on this. And I just don't want, ultimately, I don't want people to act in bad faith toward each other. And I don't think that's at all what's happening here, like right now. But I'm just I want to keep it that way. You know what I mean? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate y'all understanding. And regardless, Bean. Bean is baby. Of course. Little baby Bean. Oh, man. What a stream. Oh, my gosh. 3 hours. Time flies when I'm here with y'all. It really does. We got another hype train tonight. Just so much good shit. I'm so glad that I was able to share with y'all like progress that I'm making with my own family, working through this shit. You know, I want y'all to feel safe to come to me with that stuff and to share in the community here. Your struggles, your questions, your fucking rants, your grievances, like, that's what this is for. So we won't cover this for a little bit, probably. You know, I do shit on a rotation. It's whatever. I haven't gamed any this month on stream, so I might game on Saturday, but we'll see. We'll see. But at any rate, oh, thank y'all so much for being here with me. Lurkers, listeners, now, later, when the fuck ever. Whether you're here right now, watching it on Twitch in the next 2 weeks, or watching it on the VOD on YouTube many moons later, I am immensely grateful to be a part of your day. In any way, it's an honor. And thank you for holding the space for me to show up as my authentic self and to not put expectations on me that quite frankly, I'm not interested in meeting. I'm on my own fucking wavelength, and I'm doing just fine with that. So thank you for letting me. Thank you for letting me. I'm glad this was engaging, Pickle. I'm glad y'all enjoyed yourself. So I will be back on Saturday with something I don't want to say yet, because the spoons have to be spooning and whatnot, and we will see. We will come up with something. Follow me on all the things up here. I always update my Twitter on, like, days that I'm streaming, what I'm streaming about, when I'm live, etc., etc. I would love to get this channel to 500 followers before my birthday on Christmas Eve, and we're already almost at 400, which is incredible. Holy shit. So if we don't hit it tonight for whatever reason, we should hit it this weekend. 400 this weekend is my new goal. I love y'all so much. And I hope you have a beautiful time zone wherever you may art. And I'll see y'all on Saturday. Bye.
Beans, what the fuck?
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
Somebody touch my spaghetti!